our theme tonight. So, as we all know, a lot of us, and actually most people, have experienced different kinds of traumas. And a number of years ago, 1998, there were two doctors in San Diego, Dr. Vincent Felitti and Robert Anda, and they did this research study on what they called adverse childhood experiences. And they did a questionnaire, and this was actually at Kaiser Permanente, and of course, at HMOs they keep all kinds of, really excellent body records on, temperature and blood pressure and symptoms and all that. So they inserted this questionnaire about childhood experiences, and they looked at things like, were the parents alcoholic, were the parents drug addicts, was anybody in the family, in prison for anything, were the children beaten or abused, verbally or physically or emotionally or sexually, for example, and things like that. And what they found was that these adverse childhood experiences, they call them, were much more common. Most people had at least one or two of them, okay? And they found that for people who had at least four adverse childhood experiences, it directly and linearly affected their health, not just their psychological, emotional health, because people were very aware of the connection between trauma and, for example, addiction and abuse and anxiety and depression, but they actually affected their physical health in terms of heart attacks and strokes and diabetes and COPD and 11 or 12 other, a total of 17 different medical conditions. And what was amazing was that these guys were doctors and they did not suspect this. They were not aware that there was a direct connection, and the connection between average childhood experience, for example, and premature death, for example, is actually stronger than the connection between smoking and premature death, for example, to give you an idea. Okay. And as you know, most medical doctors, they don't ask you about your childhood. Of course, they're busy. Of course, they don't have only that much time with you. But most medical doctors do not even look at this. Okay. So because of these traumas, many of us, do not feel safe in our bodies and are not even aware to it to a large extent. So there's a researcher named Dr. Stephen Porges who developed what's called the polyvagal theory. Okay. And he coined this term called neuroception. And neuroception refers to an automatic process of evaluating risk. Our inner, minds, our nervous system are constantly scanning the environment and adjusting our physiology to look for risks and dangers and deal with them. Okay? And this happens continuously, subconsciously, without our conscious awareness. And so neuroception is a process by which our neural circuits determine whether the situation with our outside environment is safe or dangerous or life-threatening. Okay? So if we sense danger in any way, our automatic nervous system shifts into what's called the fight or flight response. But our hearts automatically, and again, unconsciously, start to beat faster, our lungs breathe faster, our blood pressure goes up, our pupils dilate, our blood flows to the arms and legs, okay, and we get ready to either fight or flee or run in some way. But then, for example, if we have a desk job, for example, or at home or whatever, but say we have a desk job and it's totally inappropriate, you can't just run out of the office or can't freak people out, so then we stuff it and shut it down, but our hearts, but we're still dealing with a lot of blood pressure, and that causes, not just resistance, but causes, we're suppressing, that impulse to either fight or flee or run or whatever, and then that cycle gets turned off, okay? Or for example, if we can't fight or flee, then very often the parasympathetic nervous system will shut down our autonomic function, resulting in what's called freezing or immobilization, okay? But conversely, when we feel safe, Porges discovered that we have what's called the social engagement system, and this system is associated with calmness and connecting with other people and safety. But what happens is that we open our eyes, we connect with other people, we smile, and we feel safe and we feel curious, and we reach out to others. We feel safe within ourselves, and also we're curious and reach out to other people, okay? And what's interesting about these three systems, the fight or flight response or the freeze response or the social engagement system, is that each one of these will mutually inhibit the other depending on which system is dominant, but it depends upon whether or not we feel safe in our bodies. Now, the downside of this is that many people feel just chronically anxious or chronically scared in their bodies and don't even know or understand why. Okay, so tonight we're going to do an experience with rocking and breathing, a moving meditation, which most of you are familiar with, to explore this experience of neuroception and to raise our awareness of these different responses, and then to find safety within ourselves. Okay? All right. So what I'd like everyone to do is to raise your hands and arms and just wave back and forth. And again, we're just opening up and loosening up, just waving, just like plants and trees waving in the breeze. And breathing, waving and breathing in through the nose, blowing out through a straw. And feeling both the strength but also the flexibility and elasticity in our hands and arms and shoulders and upper body. We're just warming up and opening up. Okay, then dropping the hands and arms and just shake the arms out. Okay, then please take your hands and we'll rub our hands together gently. Then opening up the hands like we're making a bowl. And just notice if you have any stress or tension from the day. Or, sometimes we have the upset du jour, whatever that is. So if you had an upset or something happened today, just notice that and put that in your hands for a moment. And then just raise and lower the hands and notice how heavy or how light, what that feels like as you raise your hands. And breathing. Okay, then please take your hands and very slowly just rub the hands together. And you can imagine that we're gently rubbing and grinding and polishing that experience into a fine powder, finer and finer and smaller and smaller. Like we're grinding it into a fine powder. And still rubbing, grinding, polishing, and breathing. And noticing carefully what happens to that experience as we're grinding and polishing it finer and finer. Okay, then gently open your hands and notice what it looks like or feels like now. Okay, then again, please drop your hands and arms and shake. Give yourself a good shake. Shake it out and just let that all go. Okay, then please cross your arms and squeeze your biceps and triceps, your upper arms. Okay, and as we're doing this, feel the strength and the energy and the aliveness in our arms and shoulders, upper chest and upper body. Okay, and then as we're connecting with ourselves, please gently start rocking yourself. And you can either rock side to side, or you can rock forwards and backwards, or you can rock like in a gentle ellipse or like a kind of a modified circle. But you can experiment with that, side to side, forward and back, or like an ellipse. But please find a pattern and rhythm that feels safe and soothing to you in your body. So we're gently rocking and breathing. And again, breathing slowly in through the nose and exhaling through a straw. So we're rocking and breathing and noticing with please close your eyes and with your inner attention going inside. Just noticing and just imagine touching base, both emotionally and also with your body inside. And of course, whatever you notice, whatever you experience is fine. Your experience is sacred, and your experience is right for you. Okay. Okay, so please keep the rocking and breathing going. And in a moment, I'm going to give you a couple phrases to say. And so I'll say one phrase and then you'll repeat it after me, and then I'll say the second phrase and you'll repeat that after me. And we'll say each phrase several times. Okay? And your job is to go inside yourself and to find that experience inside yourself. Okay, so for example, the first phrase will be something inside of me feels, okay? And then the second part will be, for example, feels calm and aware. And so you repeat this phrase after me, and then go inside and find that part of you inside that feels calm and aware. Okay, and still, as I mentioned, keeping the rocking and breathing going. So here we go. So something inside of me feels calm and aware. Something inside me feels calm and aware. You're just going inside and finding that. Something inside me feels calm and aware. Something inside me feels calm and aware. And something inside me feels calm and aware. Okay, the next phrase, something inside me feels strong and resilient. 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 Okay, then the next phrase, something inside me sometimes feels like a little kid. Something inside me sometimes feels like a little kid. Something inside me sometimes feels like a little kid. Something inside me sometimes feels like a little kid. Okay, then the next phrase, something inside me sometimes feel scared or afraid. Something inside me sometimes feels scared or afraid. Something inside me sometimes feels scared or afraid. Something inside me sometimes feels scared or afraid. Okay, then the next phrase. Something inside me just wants to feel safe. 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 Okay, then the next phrase. That part of me that sometimes feels scared or afraid is trying to get me that part of me that sometimes feels scared or afraid is trying to get me that part of me that sometimes feels scared or afraid is trying to get me that part of me that sometimes feels scared or afraid is trying to get me that part of me that sometimes feels scared or afraid is trying to get me Okay, then the next phrase. Something inside me feels strong and resilient. Something inside me feels strong and resilient. Something inside me Feel strong and resilient. Something inside me feels strong and resilient. Okay, then the next phrase. Something inside me feels calm and awake. 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 Okay. And please open your eyes for a moment and take your hands and rub your hands together. And breathing. And please feel the warmth and the energy and the aliveness in your hands and fingers. Feeling warmth and energy and aliveness while still rocking and breathing. Okay. And please take your hands, put your hands over your heart. And please feel the warmth in your hands, the energy in your chest, and feeling the love in your heart. And then close your eyes and still rocking and breathing. We'll do one more set of phrases. So still rocking, still breathing. Next phrase. Something inside me feels loving and loved. 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 Okay, then please take your hands again and gently rubbing the hands together. And once again, feeling the warmth and the energy and the love in your hands. Knowing that our hands are instruments of love. Our hands, our arms, our shoulders, emerge out of our chest, emerge out of our heart chakra, but our hands literally are instruments of love. Then holding your hands up with the palms forward, and please imagine sending and sharing this love with people in your family, children, parents, siblings, cousins, aunts and uncles, etc., people in our families. Sending this love to our friends, to people we share heart connections with. Sending this love to people we do business with, who provide services for us. Sending this love to teachers and bosses, employees and colleagues and people we've worked for or worked with in the past. They say that there's only 6 degrees of separation between us and the people on the far ends of the earth. So imagine sending this love to your circle of acquaintances and friends, and to their circle, and to their circle, and their circle, till it extends all the way across to the far corners of the world, touching every person without exception, sending and sharing love and acceptance and compassion. And imagine all people and all beings gently vibrating and resonating and receiving this love. And again, imagine this love going out from each of us like antennas or projectors extending love, and then imagine this love gently coming back, flowing back, vibrating, radiating back to us. Because what we send out, we give out, comes back to us, of course. And so imagine receiving, opening up like antennas, like flowers. But imagine that we're opening up to receiving all the love and all the love vibrations and all the goodness and all the energy, all the abundance of this beautiful universe, this beautiful world, receiving it back. Because again, what we extend, what we share, what we extend out comes back to us. And again, gently rubbing the hands together and breathing. And once again, feeling the warmth and the energy and the love in both our hands and our hearts. And putting our hands together in prayer position. Please imagine saying thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanking each of you for who you are, for what you do, for what you share, for joining us tonight, and for all the love and awareness that you bring to your families, to your spiritual communities, and to our world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you.